In 2010, I asked kind of a simple question. How would one transform capitalism built on closed startups that become Wall Street and Silicon Valley into what I call today social capitalism built on open startups called found-ups and open corporations called DANOs, decentralized autonomous nonprofit organizations. Back then I called them open cooperatives and open corps built on AI that I called the noodle. In order for that to happen, I knew that I needed a new playground. This playground you call the blockchain. Back then, I called it the Open Startup Innovation Framework. So think about it this way. If you're going to transform capitalism into something new, completely new, never existed before, you'd have to have a playground, and you'd have to replace the startup, and you'd have to usher in a new kind of entity. And ultimately, you need AI to tie it all together. Now, we didn't have that in 2010. And I couldn't get Dave McClure and a whole bunch of people to listen to me. And some of them actually blocked me. So in 2011, I saw a documentary by Noam Chomsky, which was the wealth and power talked about the wealth and power cycle. It's called the Requiem for the American Dream. And I was like, holy cow, this is exactly what I'm looking to disrupt. And here is a video by Noam Chomsky detailing the very pain that I want to solve. So I reached out to Norm and said to him, hey, can you help me with funding? I live in, in Aheiji, near Aheiji, where Zen Buddhism was born, right? I've been working on this project and no one's listening and I don't have access to closed capital networks. And he says, I'm sorry, I can't help you. By December 2011, I was, giving up. I'd given up on found-ups. I'd given up, on, pursuing the dream. I couldn't get any funding. And a circle appeared on my face. And this circle ultimately was strange. I was like, why is there this mark on my face, right? With this perfect circle. And I knew the Mayan calendar was over. So I Googled circle in Mayan and I saw Undaudu. I didn't call him Undaudu back. That's a name I gave to him in 2016. And the moment I saw it, I was like, that's me. The hell, that's me. There's the open innovation framework. There's the AI in the middle, right? That's what we're trying to build. And I thought, there is a purpose for my existing. I'm on the right path, and here is the manifestation of it. So I reached out to the founder of Bitcoin Magazine, a guy called Matthew D. Wright, and he was the biggest asshole in the world. And I could understand someone snuffing him out or him stealing a bunch of money. I think he's dead, to be honest with you. I think Matthew is too arrogant, too big of an ego. Anyone who know him to know that he wouldn't, just disappear. And he was working on a project called Small Planet, which I believe is the predecessor to Ethereum. Josh denies it. He's the only one who's ever denied it. No one else has denied it. But you can look in the archives, and and this guy Matthew D. Wright, or N. Wright, or I think it's Matthew D. N. Wright, had over some posts. And but he was the biggest asshole. But I thought, maybe I can convince his developers to help me. And I talked to Michal Lisi. We got along like brothers. It was like he was one of my brothers. And I shared all my work that I had spent years working on, and the idea that we need this framework called the Open Startup Innovation Framework, built on this thing. I didn't know what to call it. I called it just Bitcoin stuff, right? It's the blockchain. And he is, you can read the logs, but he was like, wow, you complete what we're working on. So they were working on Ethereum. Back then, Vitalik was just being hired. He had no money. And the idea that he bought Bitcoin Magazine for $20,000 to me is a joke, right? Because no one really sells their startups, especially not for $20,000. And knowing the guy that Wright was, I find that hard to believe too, that he would give up his baby like that. Or he would give up his project, right? But something happened, he disappeared, and next thing you know, in 2014, Michal Lisi sends me an accidental Skype. He goes, hey, and I go, hey, and I go, what are you working on? He goes, working on Ethereum. He didn't remember me, I didn't remember him. So I'm Sahdu, putting his hand in, right? And I was about to turn away when I said, what is this Ethereum? Something made me turn and look, and I Googled Ethereum, and I watched Steven's video where, you know, the first part didn't make any sense, but when he started talking about the user cases, and I was like, holy cow, they built OIF. And I didn't know that I had shared everything with, you know, with Mihao. I was so excited, I contacted, you know, my CT. I was like, oh my God, they built OIF, check it out. You gotta listen to this talk by, you know, by Stephen Tao. And ultimately, you know, I reached out to them, and they all circled their wagons and pretended they didn't know me and everything else. And, you know, and I went off and did permaculture. And that was important because permaculture ultimately led me to Obey. And Obey is the open beneficial AI, right? Obey. I didn't understand what Obey would be. And permaculture gave me the 3 precepts of Obey on Sahdu. The 3 precepts: help the planet, living systems, and in sharing. The non-tangible metrics that this new economic system we built on. It was not built on growth from CAG or kind of annual growth rate, but rather built on benefit, proof of benefit. We need, every individual, every person, every job, everything we do needs to show benefit to the planet. We live on one planet, and we have to switch from just consumption and growth to benefit, right? That's the true value. So, that came out of that. And the other thing is, you know, in 2016, I went to DevCon 2, the last DevCon I went to, and it resulted in 2017, and all you know what happened in 2017. And Joe was there, and Bob Somerville was there. I kissed Bob. He's now the community leader for Ethereum Classics, because I kissed you, Bob, right on the big, beautiful forehead of yours. And I debated for an hour or two with Joe Lubin, who was trying to, you know, kind of like dethrone me and say I wasn't the guy behind, like the guy in Facebook. You know, it really isn't Mark Zuckerberg, it's some other dude. I'm that other dude in Ethereum. And you know, and he couldn't derail me. But the interesting thing with Josh is that he started talking about collective capitalism, right? Collaborative capitalism, collective capitalism. That is social capitalism in a way. And I thought when I saw that was kind of cool from Joe, that he obviously was listening to my talk. Charles Hoskins and I butted heads back then, and I'm so glad Charles is doing Cardano, a vehicle for Danos, Cardano. He talks about the Ouroboros, right? The Ouroboros is what we're trying to slay. We are trying to cut off the head of the Ouroboros. The Ouroboros is this infinite agent devouring our finite agent, our planet. The infinite agent is our business model. So in 2010, that's what I set out to lop the head off. And, you know, Charles's project, I love Cardano. I love what Charles is working on. You know, Sahdu is very important. Because what people don't realize is the blockchain is, in fact, a Pandora's box. The blockchain is consuming even more resources by causing even more projects and more millionaires that are consuming. So you can think of the blockchain as power pellets and Pac-Man. Before, we just had Pac-Man running around with no power pellets. Now we added the blockchain, and every blockchain is a new power pellet. So you know, so it's a Pandora's box, is what I told Charles in 2018. He was there, and I guess he'd already been working on it. You know, he's doing important work. So I am basically throwing parties to celebrate Ethereum, to celebrate you know, the maturation of my innovation, even though some other people have claimed credit for it. That's fine. I don't care. I'm egoless now. I'm a Sahdu, right? The Sahdu of the blockchain. And I'm throwing a party, and they're open parties, and I welcome people to come. I am building the Bitcoin Global Reserve Fund. That is the next thing. I'm going to talk about the Sahdu. Each day is going to be different. You won't get the full picture in each day because I just have too much to say, as you can see if you listen to my videos. But you can come to my events, and You can definitely bring your own beer, bring your own wine, bring your own champagne. Let's have a party. The Hyatt's kind of bitchy about that. Not bitchy about that, but you know, they're going to charge me a bottling thing for everything I uncork. Fuck them, you know. So bring your champagne to my events. I don't know. It's their champagne. All right. So, or their events. And let's, here's your chance to get a picture with Sahdu. I've got this beautiful portrait made. You'll get your picture with the Sahdu, get to meet the Sahdu. I won't be attending more DevCons. So Vitalik, from here on out, they're all yours. You don't have to worry about the crazy Malcolm X of the Ethereum, right? Some people call me that, the Malcolm X of Ethereum. You know, the radical boy. I think half of the core folks of Ethereum, you know, the worshipers of Vitalik have me blocked anyway. This is no open invitation out to Vitalik. If he wants to come and discuss, go back in history and talk about the origin story. I'd love to know the story about what happened to Matthew. I'd love to know what happened to Small Planet. I'd love for you to share the code and, you know, either deny or confirm my allegations or conspiracy, whatever. It doesn't matter at this point. You're a billionaire. Who cares, right? Who cares? You know, 5 years from now, I'll be forgotten anyway. So, you know, what am I doing and what's FoundUps and everything else? Well, we're launching social capitalism. We're launching basically the next thing. How do you launch it? Well, now that AI has finally gotten to where it needs to go, right? Now that the Bitcoin, which my original drawing was dead on, this idea of redrawing it and putting Ethereum, you know, Ethereum and all these altcoins, their value is that of a stock. And the most important thing for you to ask yourself is how will they fit in with social capitalism? Like Chainlink is a good investment. Anything that's, Ripple, right? There's going to be payment systems in social capitalism, all this stuff. You know, all this stuff, if it doesn't fit in there, if it's some useless kind of, you know, I'm going to be the future payment system or something, Bitcoin is there, right? So I would be very apprehensive. The other thing is to understand that Bitcoin is the global currency for social capitalism, right? It's the scarcity, the way that Hal Finney, and I'm going to talk about Hal Finney at the event, set it up. So, you know, I just want to make a video to say that here's your chance, come to my events, chill out with me, ask me questions, hang out, network. If you make a donation, you get up on stage, but you know, I don't want any, you know, 99% of all the damn blockchain projects are tails wagging the dog, okay? They're all tails wagging the dog. So ask yourself, is my project a tail wagging the dog, or is it the dog wagging the tail? You know, it's very important as we move forward to have projects that are, you know, that are dogs wagging the tail. And the other thing to keep in mind is everything is changing in a massive way, and it's going to happen so quickly. You know, maybe within 10 years, we're going to see the start of the end of capitalism. So there you have it. Look forward to seeing you at DevCon. Sahdu to you and yours, to all you Ethereum brothers and sisters, to Vitalik, to Mihal, to, you know, to folks that I wish were there, like Brock Pierce and the twins. You're all part of this, this unfolding prophecy that started some 6,000 years ago with some Mayan painting you all along a calendar to hide in plain sight for me to find. So today I'm meeting with number 19. He's coming down, and I'm meeting with the rice farmers, and we're going to be doing Puerto Rico rice, Sahdu, bringing UBI to the islanders of Puerto Rico. That's what we're doing. Sahdu to you and yours. Take care.